right. Greetings and salutations. I'm kind of picking up where I left off yesterday. Um and yeah, I guess I should go through this, maybe reset a little bit. I at the end of yesterday's stream, I was sort of copying and pasting stuff from my whiteboard app into my Word document and started formatting it as essentially an appendix. Hey, Brian, kind of an appendix with an for building encounters. And I thought I changed it up a little bit. So what I did was I have two. Now I have, well, you can see here, there's a number of tables on this page. And by the way, if you want to check this out and you happen to be a patron, because I have a Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the channel, as a patron, I dropped the PDF of this page into Patreon if you want to check that out. And if you're a channel member on YouTube, I dropped a picture of it because you can't attach files for YouTube community type posts. But if you want it as an image, I drop that in there. So thanks, folks who support the channel. You can kind of check this out if you want. It's obviously this is formatted for my Hex Halloween entry, but I think it could probably be pretty easily modified if you like this. I don't even want to call it a system. If you like this way of doing it, then you could adapt it pretty easily to whatever you're doing. Basically, first of all, I have a section for settled area encounters. So in the areas, if we come up here and we look at my hex map over here, I've got these areas with settlements in it. Well, not the tower, but 3 here and these 2 here. I would roll on this thing first instead of the creatures, unless I get the wilderness creature entry, in which case I would roll on there. Otherwise, I would roll on the creatures, and depending on which area I am, and the low plains is this area here, the grasslands, we have the western green slopes, the eastern green slopes, the high mounts, the swamp, and the lake. So you would just roll to see, you pick whichever one you're rolling in. Hey, Magnus. Tune into the stream. Well, I appreciate that you consider that a good roll and not a critical fail. So otherwise, you would pick which kind of region you're in, and you would use that particular creature list. Then you can roll for a situation, activity, a mood. I just thought was maybe a little bit better, and kind of a complication. And one of the things I did with the complications is basically it's separate from the mood, and the idea here is you would roll these up. This is the prep. These are the prep tables. Remember, if my what I was talking about made sense yesterday, and I guess I'll read it. The idea of having some tables you use as part of your prep, and then maybe a table you use as part of the actual play. The table here in this document that we're going to fill up, this would be a table you would use in play. These other tables, these are tables used in prep. So we're going to use the prep tables to roll up some stuff that we're going to use in play. So we'll have to think about when we get to the mood, if we're going to use it, what that mood means. And I thought that these were good. They're a little bit more generic, but also a little bit more broad than just saying they're hurt or they're wounded. So obviously, if the mood is defeat, then that might indicate they're wounded. Also, does desperation indicate that they're wounded? Death, what does it mean? We can figure it out. So it gives us, so it's not quite as specific, but I feel like it gives us a little bit more to work with, maybe overall. And then for complications, half the time they're not going to have a complication. On the other half of the time, the complication is a hazard, which would mean something part about the environment. So you might say, for example, oh no, the were rat has been pinned down by a fallen tree. That would be the fallen tree would be the hazard part. Or oh no, something's in quicksand. Something's stuck in quicksand. That would be a hazard. Creature is there's another creature around, and we would roll it for that. And then of course, finally, you might end up with a hazard and a creature. Now I didn't make a whole list of hazards. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, but remember, this is the prep table. So the idea here is, unless you're really comfortable with it, you wouldn't be rolling this up during play. Not to say that you couldn't, but that's not the intention, or at least that's not how we're going to use it. We're going to roll it up now, filling these up, and then presumably my advice would be to roll these up before you play when you need to add more encounters into. We need to refresh the encounter list. You can use this. So I have here in my hands, if I can keep them in my hands, 6. See, 6. I got some dice. I got some D6s. I think actually 6 of them. That way, because I think, even though I roll one or the other, just in case, I think for the permutations, I think 6 dice will do it. And I'm just going to read them left to right, and we'll see what we get. So I got, I got 2, 4, 3, 6, 1, 4. We might not need all the dice, but we'll see. All right, so 2 is villagers. So I'm gonna write this in here. Villagers. 4, The situation is rest. All right, so I'll just put resting. We don't know. The mood is 3 is confusion. They're resting and they're confused. Let's see. That was what? That was what? Right. Villagers. I should probably make this say 2 for villagers, 4 for resting, 3 for confused, 6 for the complication, which is a hazard and a creature. So I'll have to figure out the hazard. And then the creature, I got a 1, which is other villagers. All right, so we have another hazard, some kind of hazard, and more villagers. Hazard plus more villagers. So if we were going to run this during a game, we might need a minute to decide kind of what is going on here. But I'm thinking, so they're resting. It doesn't have to mean that they're relaxing, but it could be just taking a breath. They're confused. They got a hazard. Oh, you know what I didn't roll for? I didn't roll for a location. That's what I need. Actually, whoops. This is. Hold on a minute. This would be wrong. What did I do? 6 complication, hazard and creature. 1 from rill. Oh yeah, 4 I can use for and it's in a shallow rill, which is a like a little stream. So okay, so let's think of it. So this I think it makes sense that there's a villagers gathered around a wagon that, let's see, villagers are gathered right. T-Ball's got it. Yep, taking a break from trying to get a wagon out of the stream. That's right. Yep. Villagers sit in the grass or stand around a wagon which has become stuck trying to cross a stream. Oregon Trail flashbacks, Brian. Yep. And I'll just say, I'll call this a group of 1d4 villagers. Yeah, I was wondering, like, we could have a second set of villagers. I'm not sure what they would be doing. Another group of 1d3 villagers are loudly arguing over it. All right, so makes sense. So we got Bryce says, "Why are they confused? Something the wagon stuck. They don't understand." Yeah, I mean it's all stuff we have to take it. You know, we can. So I guess I'm not. I guess I should probably maybe I could say so. Right. Ultimately, all these things we're doing is just to give ideas. Right. I would not feel, and nor should you feel if you were using this, that you need to jam in everything you come up with. It's an idea. So the confusion could be just why did we like them? The arguing to me is that confusion bit. You got some of them running around, the other ones are arguing about it. That's right. Like they don't, they're trying to place blame. They're trying to figure out who did. That to me is I'm channeling the confusion into these guys arguing about it. Tara says the wagon was attacked by dire dysentery. That would definitely be an Oregon Trail type thing. Maybe I'll just give these hard numbers. I'll just say 4. Or maybe I'll say 3. Whoops. Not trying to save it. Thank you. Or actually, I am, but not trying to save as. The other. So that's maybe that'd say the confusion. They're arguing about it. That's the confusion. Why did you do this? Who did you do this? Why do we have to come across this way? That kind of thing. So I think that works. I might flesh it out and kind of rewrite, but I feel like that's a good. Obviously, we wouldn't want to repeat that encounter, right? So once we would, if we got that encounter, and I think that's kind of the thing is these encounters will be kind of one-offs. Is sort of how they'll be good. I feel like if you're just coming through, they'll be good, but you'll want to re-roll them after you go through them all. All right, so now we've got all right 2, 2, 5, 5, 6, 6. Well, that'll be. Let's see how that turns out. So we got another one, 2 villagers again. Villagers. And let's see, now we need a situation, which is they're on an errand. Errand 5. The mood is defeat. That's interesting. Another 5. The complication is a creature. And I rolled a 6 for creature, so we get a wilderness creature. I rolled another 6, hippogriff. And now I still need a location. 4. I got a shallow rill again. I got another stream. Let me just get another location. I want the same location. 3, a stand of trees. T-Ball says you find the same villagers a week later with the wheel falling off the cart. Yeah, that'd be good. You just have that's something really funny you could really play with is having a really great a little bit of a tone setter, but just sort of a nice background thing is like a subplot. If you, I mean, obviously it would help if you were in this area a bunch of times, and each time you see these villagers, something you do see in movies and TV shows a bit, where they'll have the like in what was it, in Time Bandits, Michael Palin and oh shoot, what's her name? Um, Shelley Duvall's characters, always through time, had having the same kind of issues wherever in the time stream they happen to be found. All right, so we have villagers on an errand defeating a hippogriff or defeated a hippogriff a stand of trees. What is that? What, I'm trying to remember. I always get confused with what are we? I was just gonna look. You know what? Let me pull that off because I don't need you. Got some images for hippogriff. What do we got? What do we got? Or maybe, do I do, oh, what does Wikipedia say? Oh, let's see. Oh, his invention of Ludovico Ariosto. Horse, head of an eagle, and a body of a lion. So what is it? What is it exactly? A steed born of a mare and a griffin. Yes. Let's see. Okay. Head of an eagle, claws, wings, and a body of a horse. Okay, head of an eagle, winged horse. All right. Okay. So I'm going to say, so the villagers are on an errand, but they're defeated. Yeah, this might be good. Okay, I like this. So what I'm going to say is, hmm. So a hippogriff hovers above a stand of trees. Several villagers, trees, a, let's see, a coil of rope around one of its forelegs. The rope is entwined in the branches in the tree branches and trunks the other end held forlornly by three villagers. Okay, and now I'm going to add a little bit more, but I'm just going to... All right, so a hippogriff hovers above a stand of trees, a coil of rope around one of its forelegs. The rope, I'll say, trails downward where it is entwined in tree branches and trunks. The other end of the rope is held forlornly by three villagers. Forlorn three villagers. They were paid by a visiting conjurer to capture the creature, but they have not been able to reel in the beast. The hippogriff breaks free of its bond in, I don't know, 1d3 rounds. Should I say, how many are 2d6 rounds? Something like that. I don't know if I need the rounds bit, but so this one's: the hippogriff hovers above a stand of trees, a coil of rope around one of its forelegs. The rope trails downward where it is entwined in tree branches and trunks. The other end of the rope is held forlornly by three villagers. They were paid by a visiting conjurer to capture the creature, but they have not been able to reel in the beast. Hippogriff breaks free of its bond in 2d6 rounds and flies away after making one attack against one of its would-be captors. So I think that's a pretty good little encounter, and of course the party can interject themselves in several ways. This idea of the conjurer, which I didn't have, I hadn't talked about. It came up randomly. Where's my thing here? So when I was rolling up, and I guess just for a, let me take a sip of water here. In terms of when I'm creating these tables, I rely usually I just pull out the creature list, the kind of the wandering creature list from BX, and I'll just roll on that on the, I guess it would be the expert list for the wilderness. I'll just roll on that, and that's what I use to kind of fill my initial tables. And one of the things I got was a magic user, which I just retermed a conjurer. And then the idea came up, which I haven't fleshed out yet, but the idea is here that I'll work on, is that the word has gotten out that this mage's tower is here. Hey, Magnus, thanks for hanging out for a bit. Word has gotten around that this mage's tower is here, mostly intact and kind of up for grabs. So these kind of would-be new wizards are coming around. I'm just calling them conjurer because the idea I had thought that might be fun is you have these conjurers. Some of them are actually magic users, but some of them are actually just charlatans. I was thinking maybe stat them, use thieves to stat them up, but they all are kind of trying to in there. So you have around this area of a bunch of these conjurers are showing up. Who, and I figured maybe one of them decided to pay these villagers, see if they could get a hippogriff, kind of like, oh, I could get a mount. It's kind of self-aggrandizing through using these villagers to do their dirty work. I also thought that's another employment opportunity for the party, that they could get a conjurer might hire them to help with the tower or some other task, or heck, get them a hippogriff might even be one of the tests. I will probably want to name some of these guys. Maybe I'll have a handful that are here. Maybe I'll even put like a create a conjurer thing where you could name them and then decide whether it's a real wizard of some sort or a faker or a charlatan. So that's kind of where the conjurer comes from. But I thought it was another little subplot sort of story floating around. It's related to things, but it's also its own element. But that's encounter 2. Let's roll up another one. Oops. Let's see. I'll roll this one again. Oh my gosh. All right. Geez. 4, 5, 5, 6, 1, 4. So 4 is a patrol. 5 activity is survival, which it doesn't mean necessarily. So survival, that could be eating. I had that kind of feeding, so eating, drinking, something you're doing to fulfill a need. It doesn't have to be that you're fighting for survival like you're about to die. I mean, it can be if you want to, but that was kind of where I put survival in there. Another 5. Mood is defeat. Again, oh boy, that's not good. Complication 6, hazard and a creature. And the creature is, I'm going to say that they're not, is a ghoul. I'm going to use the ghoul one. I'm not going to roll, yeah, ghoul, and then for the location, got it, same stream. It's like a crazy stream. Pasture. Okay, pasture. So maybe so actually so like I said, part of the reason why I like having very almost vague kind of moods and things is because and even the activities are somewhat vague, is so you can really have fun with it. So maybe we said in this case maybe it is survival, that there's a ghoul from somewhere that ended up in a pasture. Ghouls, they got that paralyzing touch, right? So we'll just say that 2 and I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to call them guards right now, but I don't know exactly who's patrolling this as of yet. 2 guards fend off. I don't know, fend off a ghoul while let's just roll, see how many. 2 their compatriots stand petrified behind them. Oh yeah, that's a good idea too. In an open field, a ghoul. Then petrified behind them, frozen in mid stride, side the battle, a half eaten corpse of a cow lays with its guts open on the grass. All right, in an open field, 2 guards fend off a ghoul. 2 of their compatriots stand petrified behind them, frozen in mid stride. Beside the battle, a half eaten corpse of a cow lays with its guts open on the grass. Should I roll to see how many ghouls? Should I go full bore and see how many ghouls are there? Let's see. Just for giggles, I'm just going to look up how many ghouls usually show up. Maybe I should. I feel like I can set the. Make it easy. Let's see. What are we thinking? GH. Gnome. Knoll. Ghoul. How many does one get? 1 to 6. though it's 2 to 16 in the wild. Yeah, I got 10. There's no way there's 10 ghouls running around there. That would be suicide for those guards. Oh my gosh, 6. All right, I'm just gonna say 1. I'll just say no. I'll put 2. I'll put fend off 2 ravenous ghouls. Don't know where these ghouls come from. Might have to figure out where do the ghouls come from. They just old graves that never old bodies coming up to the surface. That works. So okay, now let's roll again. All right, I got 1, 1, 4. Wow, 1, 4, 6. A lot of villagers, but that's kind of to be expected. So 1 villagers. I mean, we are in the. I could probably make a table of what kind of villagers if I wanted to, right? That could be another thing. 1, what are they doing? They're stealth. All right, so they're doing some kind of sneaking. Stealth. Mood is desperation. 1, complication. No particular complication. I keep getting that same shallow rill, so but I'm gonna go roll a different one because that stream can't be everywhere. I don't know why I just keep rolling a 3. Stand of trees again. So what? Villagers, stealth, desperation, and then trees. So what is going on here that they'd be desperate and trying to be sneaky? Oh, all right. I got it. All right, let me roll for see how many villagers we've got here. Ooh, all right. 5 villagers hide in a copse of trees where they have stashed a I don't know, stashed the carcass carcass of carcass of a one of the Lord's deer that they killed. Let's see, 5 villagers hide in a copse of trees where they have stashed the carcass of one of the Lord's deer that they killed. They are hoping to avoid discovery, particularly by the Lord's warden until they have skinned gutted the animal and buried its bones. Okay, that one sounds good to me, I think. Let's roll last one in here. Okay, let me roll that again. I don't like to get all the same number. All right, so I got 4, 6, 5, 1, 3, 1. So 4 is patrol again. Mark in patrol. 6 activities combat. So we're in fighting or something again. 6 again is the mood is death. Complication none. Location trees. I keep getting trees. That's okay. And then do I need another one? No, I think that's about it. All right, so we have Patrol, combat, death, trees. But I'm gonna roll one to see kind of what are they. I need something. Are they have to be? I'm assuming they're fighting something. I'm gonna say not each other, so I'm just gonna roll to see what they got. And bandits. Okay. All right. So let's see. So it's trees at on the. Let's see. Well, let me think. Okay. So we got a stand of trees. I think there's gonna be some. I'm gonna guess there was some kind of ambush. See how many guards are. I'm gonna say some are dead. Wow. 6 guards. I'll say the bodies. 6 guards lay unmoving in the rutted road. How many more are they? 3. 3 more guards shelter behind a boulder on one side of the path. Let's see for the bandits. 7. 7 bandits shoot arrows from behind a nearby stand of trees. Does that make sense? The bodies of 6 guards lay unmoving in the rutted road. 3 more guards, and I don't think they'll be guards. I don't know what they'll be. 3 more guards shelter behind a boulder on one side of the path. 7 bandits shoot arrows from behind a nearby stand of trees. From within, not behind. Something like that. Hey, Ian. All right, so we got some encounters. I'll just read these. So first encounter, and I'm thinking it doesn't really matter. You could roll on the table, you could run them in order, whatever. I like to roll, but do whatever. Did I skip one? I did skip one because I went 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. All right, so we got one more. How did I do that? How indeed did I do that? Insert above. We need 4. All right, so I thought I was done with this, but I'm not. Let's do it again. Let's see, we got. Let's see. 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. Well, I'll have 3s. All right, so 5 is we got a retinue, which I don't know what the retinue is yet, but we got that. That one, we got 3 means their activity is travel. We've got a mood 4. We've got desperation again. Yeah, one thing with the mood I changed from last time is I wanted to add something that weren't bad. So I actually have 2 that are 33%. You could end up with triumph or satisfaction, which would be good, but I haven't rolled any of those. So, it is what it is. 3, no complications. So what do we have here? We have travel, desperation. Who is coming where and why? Who's coming where and why? Members of, what's the guy's name? Lord Brandhelm. Retinue. Let's see. What's the ride at a gallop. Ride by at a gallop. Barely altering their course to avoid. Barely acknowledging. Actually, let's put ride by. Ride by at a gallop. So I don't know what the desperation is. So the desperation I'm just reading is like they're moving quickly. Why? I'm not sure. This might be interestingly. It could be, and maybe I'll add in what that retinue is or roll it up. But I think it's almost I don't know. I mean, it could be this could end up being a clue as to, because Brandhelm, he's the guy. If you recall from, if you've been paying attention to the other streams, if you've been involved, he's kind of the antagonist, if you will. He's the one who's plotting something. So the idea that some of his retinue is moving quickly, across whatever, and you can only get this thing. I suppose it could just be towards the castle, towards his castle. So he could be arriving or could be leaving. I could maybe, roll that up also. But they're moving. So maybe I'll flesh out a little bit more. But they are moving. Oh, I didn't give a location, right? So that might help. 3 trees again. All these trees. Let me give me another one. My gosh, how many times can I roll 3? Oh my, 3 times in a row. A dense thicket. Burst through a dense thicket and ride. The members of Lord Branhelm's retinue burst through a dense thicket and ride off at a gallop. Oh, so it's you don't expect the party will interface with that directly because they're just going to ride off, but it's definitely an interesting. Depending on how they want to read it, could it be a clue of something? Certainly, it could be. Are they bringing him news that the merchant that they're looking for hasn't been found, or something else, or that their plot's been discovered, or whatever? It could be. Could have a lot of fun with that. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to mandate what it is. What is their news? They're making their way, and frankly, they're not going to tell the players their news anyway. I mean, at least who knows? Whenever this encounter might happen, then maybe it might be appropriate that they would tell the players news, but I doubt it. They're it's not for them. They're there, and I could, like I said, I could roll to see who this retinue is, or maybe I could just say it's a herald. One of his messengers is running back, which may make the most sense with a kind of a small messenger and maybe a small armed guard or something. I don't know. Maybe or just the messenger. That might make the most sense. But so what we got? So we roll up 6 encounters in fairly brief time. Well, maybe not that brief, but I'm walking through it. So we have a group of 4 villagers sit in the grass or standing around a wagon, which has become stuck, trying to cross the stream. 3 other villagers are loudly arguing over it. That's encounter 1. Encounter 2, a hippogriff hovers above a stain of trees, a coil of rope around one of its forelegs. The rope trails downward where it is entwined in tree branches and trunks. The other end of the rope is held forlornly by 3 villagers. They were paid by a visiting conjurer to capture the creature, but they have not been able to reel in the beast. The hippogriff breaks free of its bond in 2d6 rounds and flies away after making 1 attack against one of its would-be captors. 3rd, in an open field, 2 guards fend off 2 ravenous ghouls. 2, I'll probably change some of the numbers for the repetition. 2 of their compatriots stand petrified behind them, frozen in mid-stride. Beside the battle, a half-eaten corpse of a cow lays with its guts open on the grass. And then 4th, members of Lord, I guess I'll just call it a messenger. Lord Branhelm's herald on a swift horse bursts through a dense thicket and rides off at a gallop. 5 villagers hide in a copse of trees where they have stashed the carcass of one of the Lord's deer that they killed. They are hoping to avoid discovery, particularly by the Lord's warden, until they have skinned and gutted the animal and buried its bones. And then finally, the bodies of 6 guards lay unmoving in the rutted road. 3 more guards shelter behind a boulder on one side of the path. 7 bandits shoot arrows from within a nearby stand of trees. So there you go. And these are very specific encounters, so you won't want to reuse them. But like I said, I think well, I'm trying, hopefully illustrating how we can create them. So let's now see. Well, we don't have. I'm not going to create the retinue right now. So let's go down to. We'll redo these. We did these before, but this was before. We did these yesterday, I guess, but this was before we had truly figured out this system. So we're in the western green slopes. All right, let's see. I've got 3, 4, 6, 6, 5, 3. So 3. Got some of the spiderkin. I just put them as 1. So we can decide which one, I guess. 4 is what? So we got spiderkin. Activity, rest. 6, mood is death. Complication, hazard, and creature. So we'll forget the hazard, but the other creature is 5. Oh, a giant antelope. Interesting. And then the location, 3, in the green slopes is an open glade. Oh, wow, this is pretty cool. So I'm going to say that this seems like this seems like this would be the camel spiders ones. So I guess I'll just call them camel spiderkin for now, because I probably will make them different. So I'm going to say this, a large male antlered giant antelope I say large, a male giant antelope antlers decorated with gore and slick with ichor looms over how many? All right, 2 looms over 4 camel spiderkin crushed into the grass. 2 of the arachnids still twitch with some small measure of life. In an open glade. I like that encounter. In an open glade, a male giant antelope, antlers decorated with gore and slick with ichor, looms over 4 camel spiderkin crushed into the grass. 2 of the arachnids still twitch with some small measure of life. So apparently these guys took on something they thought they could kill, and it didn't work out. That's what happens sometimes, right? Sometimes just don't work out. So I like it a nice little inversion. You might think, oh, the spiderkin are taking down this antelope, but no, in this case, they tried to take on a guy that was too much. 4, well, a lot of 6s. Jeez, a lot. Oh my gosh. 4, 6, 6, 5, 6, 6. Why couldn't I roll that when rolling some attributes? That's some rolls. All right, so let's see. We're in the western green slopes. We got 4, which is a chimera. Interesting. Then we got 6, activity is combat, which that's fine. Another 6, the mood is death again. 5, complication is a creature, which is in the Western group, so it's a small rock. I'm just going to say rock. I'm not going to use small, large. Oh, yeah, that's a PDF. I can't edit that. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. Okay, so rock. And then the location, 6, is a dense thicket. All right, now here's a question here for you. Who do we think's got more? I mean, obviously, upsets can happen in the World Wrestling Federation. Rock, technically, well, actually, it's not here, so I got to go and look in the expert guide. I'm just curious. I'm not going to change it. The Chimera is all right. Chimera has, wow, 9 hit dice, and a rock has how many? Anyone want to guess how many hit dice a rock has? And I'm not going to do small or large. I'll see which one's most appropriate given what's happened here. Maybe make it a large. Up supersize it to a large. Oh, actually, it's not that bad. A large rock has 12 hit dice, and a giant rock has 36 hit dice. All right, so I'll just be a rock. 16, and it has a 2 armor class. Wow. All right, so how would this? What do they think this look like? So the Chimera. Yeah, in a thicket of dense brush, Chimera sags. Let's see. Because the Chimera was kind of the object. You know, the subject of this encounter was the Chimera, so that's why I want to focus on the state of the Chimera. Slumps in the taloned grasp of a rock whose who buries its sharp beak in the creature's exposed belly. In a thicket of dense brush, a chimera slumps in the taloned grasp of a rock who buries its sharp beak in the creature's exposed belly. I would say I think that sounds pretty good. Might edit it again, but you know, I like it. Now we get, all right, we got, whoops, 4, 6, 2, 4, 1, 6. All right, so 4 is, we're in the west. Wow, Chimera again. Okay, we'll see where this leads. 6, geez, combat. 2, mood is satisfaction. Okay, 4, no complication. Let's see. Giant lizard is, I guess I'm just saying who they're fighting. And let me roll again. I got that. I don't want the thicket again. 4, a stream. Chimera bursts out of out from behind a large boulder to pin giant lizard down where it had crouched to drink from a shallow stream. In an open glade of mail, oh, that's wrong. So a chimera bursts out from behind a large boulder to pin a giant lizard down. I might change the name giant lizard, whatever, but pin down a giant lizard where it crouched to drink from a shallow stream. So there you go. We got 4, 1. Was that 6 again? Man, I like my 6s today. 4, 1, 6, 3. Hey, Connor, don't worry about falling behind. Don't worry about falling behind. The streams are there for you at your leisure. I do so right now my mode has been to set them as public so folks can see when I'm live and join in like you just have, but they will go to unmarked afterwards. But if you can't find them, I have a playlist. I have a bunch of playlists. One of them is called Working Streams, where all these streams are. So if you miss it, do not fret. All right, so let's see, what do we got? Man, I can't have Chimera again. I got to roll up a different. You know what? I'm just going to reverse the order of my dice. That's an easy way to get a different set. I've gotten too many Chimeras. Howdy do. Happy Friday, by the way. Happy Friday to everybody. Oh, yeah. So I got, all right, so I'm going to go 1. Got the giant lizard, which unfortunately was the poor victim last time. 6. Activity. Man, God, I've been loving to get combat encounters. This is a dangerous place. Everything's killing everything. Mood is confusion. 6. Complication, hazard, and creature. What's the creature? That's another giant lizard. And then 4, where we are located, a stream again. I got all the stuff, and yet I keep getting streams. Let me roll again. Let's get some different locations up here. 1, a rocky outcrop. Okay. All right, so yeah. 2 giant lizards. Fight over a broad and flat stunning stone. I'm not sure exactly where the confusion part comes in on this one, to be quite honest. But the confusion could simply be, why are you here? This is my spot. You know it's my spot. Okay, let's roll another one. All right, what do we got here? 2, 2, 3, 6, 2, 2. Man, I keep getting all these numbers. I don't know what is wrong with my dice. Not that there's anything wrong with them. Just keep getting the same kind of thing. I keep wondering why I keep getting the same, like multiple 2s, 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 3s, 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 6, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5. All right, so 2 is a giant hawk. All right, we haven't had a giant hawk yet. That's good. What are they doing? Errand. Okay. Mood is confusion. Gosh, we'd like to get these confused critters. All right, that was, yeah, confusion, complication, hazard, and creature. All right, so we don't know what the hazard is. What's the, oh, we didn't have that. Do we have I didn't put a hazard here, did I? I'm not sure what the hazard, I'll leave it the way it is. I think it's fine. hazard and creature. What would the creature be? Is a 2, another hawk, and the location is a murky swamp. Hmm. All right, this one's kind of interesting. If only because Aaron suggesting that it's working for somebody else is kind of the way. If it was a humanoid that got errand, it could be doing something. But for an animal, think, well, what is an animal's errand, right? So maybe it's been charmed. A charmed giant hawk. I don't know. I get, well, it wouldn't be known to the player, but that's fine because some of the stuff you don't know exactly, right? So a charmed giant hawk circles above a murky patch of swamp. A second hawk. What do they call hawk's cry? Let's see. So the second hawk, what do we say it was? It was confused. There's a creature and a hazard. I mean, I guess the murky swamp could be its own kind of hazard. It says a swamp hawk. It's a swamp hawk. A swamp hawk. Yeah. Um. Let's see. What's second hawk? Darts at it with darts and dives at it, calling loudly to drive it off. Maybe. Might have to think about that one a little more, but I think it's okay. So you got one hawk that's charmed. And maybe, I mean, I guess it's, how would you know that as the players? You might have to detect magic, something like that. Oh, actually, we'll do something. Giant hawk. An iron collar fastened around its neck. And maybe there might be something. Maybe we should put. Oh, this is a good chance to do. Let's do something a little bit fun with this one. Hold on one second. Let's put some treasure in the swamp, and maybe we'll figure out what makes it hazardous. Men and magic, monsters, and treasure. I'm just going OD&D. I like the kind of swinginess of OD&D. So we're gonna. The one thing is, it's gonna make me. I think I gotta roll to see what kind of treasure it is. Is that right? Monsters and treasure. So what? Let's see. This is a giant hawk. I don't think that's in OD&D. I don't think it is in OD&D. But we have a. Well, I'm going to say that. Where is our. Where is our. If it was a wizard or some type, what would be appropriate? What would be appropriate? This is what always bugs me about those armor tables. Is here I just want to generate a hoard, some treasure here, and I got to figure out like kind of what the monster equivalent of the treasure is, which is just not that much fun to do for me. Let's see. if we go to the treasure bit, all right, so what am I going to roll here? I want there to be a chance of treasure type I. Treasure type I looks pretty good because basically it's not really a lot of, it's just gems and jewelry and maps or magic. So let's do, and I'm just gonna say yes. We got 2 to 16 gems and jewelry. So that's 2d8. Hey, Neon Glitch. So that's 2d8. I have 2d8, so I'm just gonna use one 2d8 and roll it twice. So that's just how I'm gonna do this. Okay, there we go. Okay, 1 2d8. All right, so in terms of gems and jewelry, 4, so 6. In the swamp, in the depths of the swamp is a leather pouch, leather sack tied securely, containing, so we got 6 something. All right, so what kind of gems? Let's do our gems first. Gems and jewelry. Gems and jewelry, gems and jewelry, gems and jewelry. Well, it says gems and jewelry. It doesn't say, oh, roll for each category. All right, so I'm going to say, I rolled a 2 and a 4. I'm going to say I'll say 4 gems and 2 jewelry. So the gems, now I got to roll. I should have just taken out all the dice. Why am I messing around putting them away? All right, I got where's my D100? All right, so we've got 4 jewelry worth 73. That'll be 100. So I'm just gonna say they're worth 100. 100 gold each. Now I gotta roll 4 dice and see if I get any ones. And then those will jump up a size category. I did not. So we'll say 4 gems worth. I'm just gonna convert them to the silver. P each. We got 2 bits of jewelry. $35. Wow, 5,000. I don't know what's a necklace worth 5,000. Not really, it be 50,000 silver. Wow, this has been. Now that's well, I don't know. Do I want to go 50,000 silver? I don't know. I might need to adjust that number, but that's what it is right now. It's 5,000 times 10 if I convert it to silver pieces. Maybe I'll just convert it down. But anyway, that's what I got. And then the second one is worth 83. I roll a 10-sided die for 30,000. All right. Necklace for 30,000. A pendant worth, and I'm most probably going to have to change these numbers, 30,000 silver. I don't know. I use SP and then I change it. And now we'll do the fun one, which is the magic item. The magic item will be Will it be fun or will it not be fun? All right, so I rolled on the magic item. Any one. All right, so let's see what kind of magic we get. I gotta roll a D100 again, and that's not a D10. And I got 64. 64 gives us a potion. That's not quite so much fun, but it certainly could be useful. All right, here we go. Drum roll. 91. That is a potion of fire resistance. Okay. A giant hawk in an iron collar fastened around its neck circles above a murky patch of swamp, while a second hawk darts and dives at it, calling loudly in attempts to drive it off. In the depths of the swamp, beneath the in the I should say buried in the muddy swamp bed. Buried in the muddy swamp bed is a leather sack tied securely, containing 4 gems worth 1,000 silver pieces each, a necklace worth 50,000 silver pieces, a pendant worth 30,000 silver pieces, and a potion of fire resistance. I'm going to put what do they call it? A stamp. I don't know what they would call a stamp on the stamp, an imprint. The sack is imprinted with the mark of the house of who's the big cheese? High Mount. Of the High Mounts. So this is another situation in which we can see from this encounter that we just rolled up that this has more possibilities. So now I might take this and I can turn into, it's that fun thing I think that happens when you're prepping for stuff. So we rolled up this random encounter, 2 hawks fighting around it. Okay, that's it. So I, thinking about, well, we have a hawk that's on an errand, so in which case I put the iron collar around there as a clue that the hawk is controlled, potentially working for somebody doing. And the idea is it's working. What's it doing? It's been sent to try to get something out of the swamp. So maybe I thought, well, it's in the swamp. It's trying to do something. Let's say something's here. Another hawk, maybe we say, has a nest. Might write that up. Say, oh, there's a nest there, and then we just put some treasure underneath. And I got a lot of. It's a pretty valuable treasure. And because we're doing with renown, right? This might be something that translates more into renown and not into handing all that kind of silver. And there's no one. This is the kind of thing where you can't really buy it. Like, you're not going to get that many silver pieces potentially for leveling up. You'd get that much value, but you're not actually going to get that much coinage back. But it might actually give you a lot of renown. And thinking like, well, how expensive this stuff is, that maybe it belongs to the king and to the house of the king of this region, which then gets me thinking of, well, there's now a story bit here. This missing, maybe it's been missing for a long time, that there was some tale about somebody who stole the stuff and it was never found. Kind of, like what's that guy's name who I've mentioned before, and I always forget who he is. The guy who disappeared in the Pacific Northwest and may have disappeared with a bunch of money, whose name I can't remember. Right, something like that. Some bandit, some famous bandit escaped. Who knows what happened to him? Well, he ended up in the swamp and died, and his body, disintegrated. But this leather sack maybe didn't. Maybe there's a bog body down there. Maybe even the bog body. I might have to even write this up a little bit more. say, well, here's kind of this thing that happens. Bog body. Bog body rises up, tries to do something, whatever, right? But now through doing this, just this wandering creature, we've now created this other story element. And I think this is something when I look at a lot of stuff when people talk about wandering creatures or random encounters, and they see them simply as mechanical bits, mechanical levers that you turn, or I should say levers that you pull or dials that you turn, kind of miss this element. And it was funny because I played in Daniel, aka Bandits Keep's game. I'm a player in his game. We played last night, and a couple of us were talking after the game, and somebody mentioned about that, like, oh, wandering random encounters in 5e, like they're just kind of good for this kind of resource thing, but then it doesn't really matter in 5th edition. And I pointed out that we in Daniel's game, we've probably spent the last 2 months worth of sessions, granted weekly sessions, but still maybe a month. Entirely what we've been doing was literally kicked off by a random encounter where we ran into a guy in this underworld area, decided to rescue him and then help him out and all this stuff. All that stuff came from a random encounter. And it's been kind of a minor, or it's been our focus as a group for a month, all in this wandering creature. If we didn't get that, we'd be, literally, if that wandering creature came up with something else, we'd probably be doing something completely different. I know we would be, because we wouldn't have known about this whole thing that's come up. And so that's something that's really underrated. And it doesn't have to be just about fight. It doesn't have to be just about, yes, that is something, the potential to spend resources or have resources drained from you. But it's this whole other way where you get to interface with the campaign, the world, in a non-prescribed way, both as the GM as the players. Because now I have this story idea I didn't have before. Now the party may have items that they didn't have before, and I didn't know. And part of that fun, just, hey, let's discover what happens, right? So don't sleep on that element of it, even if your game is at a point because of just leveling or whatever game you're playing, you think, I don't really need or want wandering creatures. It's more than it. Yes, they're maybe their primary, maybe their original purpose was to be a resource drain / kind of ticking clock, and also to kind of show that the world's moving, but they're invitations to interact with the world in interesting kind of ways. All right, don't forget about that, because I really feel like in that aspect, they're a really way to enrich your game, and you get to discover the stuff too. That's the other thing I like about it. It's that sense of the world is showing me something that I didn't know. All right, this will be the last one I'll do, just to finish off the Western Green Slopes. What did I get? I'm gonna roll. I keep going. I'll switch it around. All right, I'm gonna switch these around because I already had. Well, I got the giant. See, it's either I do another antelope or I do another. Let me roll again. I do another. Keep getting the same kind of thing. Stop giving me 6s, man. Getting the same numbers. Do I just need to pick something? Is that where I'm at? What haven't I used yet? Oh, I have kind of used everything already. Isn't that interesting? I got the antelope. I got the chimera. I actually have 2 chimeras. I got giant lizards. I got giant hawk. Who do I have? And I got the spiderkin. And I got the rock. What did I get? All right, I'll go spiderkin again. That's fine. So I got 3. Okay, 1 is stealth. I like that. There's spiders, things, they're stealthy. 3 is confusion. And confusion can also be they just don't know what to do. They're kind of waiting. No complication. And an open glade. All right. So I don't know how many spiderkin I would have, but I'm gonna roll. All right. Yep. So I'm gonna say this is the evil ones again too, because it just makes more sense. So we got 6 camel spiderkin. Wait in hide. Hide around the edges of a small clearing to ambush prey who enter. All right, easy peasy, easiest one. So they wait for folks. They wait for things to enter, and they're gonna jump out and just go after them. So we've got just a reset for the western green slopes that they have right now. In an open glade, a male giant antelope, antlers decorated with gore and slick with ichor, looms over 4 camel spiderkin crushed into the grass. 2 of the arachnids still twitch with some measure of life. In a thicket of dense brush, a chimera slumps in the taloned grasp of a rock who buries its sharp beak in the creature's exposed belly. Chimera bursts out from behind a large boulder to pin a giant lizard down where it had crouched to drink from a shallow stream. 2 giant lizards fight over a broad and flat sunning stone. A giant hawk, an iron collar fastened around its neck, circles above a murky patch of swamp, while a second hawk darts and dives at it, calling loudly in an attempt to drive it off. Buried in the muddy swamp bed is a leather sack tied securely containing 4 gems worth 1,000, right, some treasure. And then finally, 6 camel spiderkin hide around the edges of a small clearing to ambush any who enter. Anyway, let's just put any. And I might have need to rewrite that one because it's kind of from the, check for surprise. I might have to write it in a way that, hey, check for surprise, or rewrite it to kind of. I might need to rewrite these 2 to kind of put it more from the party's perspective, because right now I had to kind of have it from a. I mean, I guess for the GM, you sort of want it in the omnipotent viewer, maybe a little bit like the players walking in, so there's a clearing up ahead, right? Kind of thing. And then we'll go back and do for the low plains. I did a group of 4 villagers sit in the grass or stand around a wagon, which has become stuck trying to cross a stream. 3 other villagers are loudly arguing over it. A hippogriff hovers above a stand of trees, a coil of rope around one of its forelegs. The rope trails downward where it is entwined in tree branches and trunks. The other end is held forlornly by 3 villagers. They were paid by a visiting conjurer to capture the creature, but they have not been able to reel in the beast. The hippogriff breaks free of its bond in 2d6 rounds and flies away after making 1 attack against one of its would-be captors. In an open field, 2 guards fend off 2 ravenous ghouls. Two of their compatriots stand petrified behind them, frozen in mid-stride. Beside the battle, a half-eaten corpse of a cow lays with its guts open on the grass. And then, let's see, next, Lord Branhelm's herald on a swift horse bursts through a dense thicket and rides off at a gallop. 5 villagers hide in a copse of trees where they have stashed the carcass of one of the Lord's deer that they killed. They are hoping to avoid discovery, particularly by the Lord's warden, until they have skinned and gutted the animal and buried its bones. All right, so maybe it's remains, because it's not just going to be bones. And then finally, the bodies of 6 guards lay unmoving in the rutted road. 3 more guards shelter behind a boulder on one side of the path. 7 bandits shoot arrows from within a nearby stand of trees. And there you have it. So these are now our encounters, really kind of specific of place. But I think, in this appendix, if you were to download this or grab it, right, would have the ability to basically use the tools that I used to make those to come up with some stuff to refill that as necessary. I really am happy with, I'm happy overall with the encounters. I think in particular, I really like the treasure one down here. With that kind of sack, is the way it kind of creates a story. Another sort of plot thread. I also kind of like the idea of the herald, that we don't know why that they've that they're on a mad blazing trail and riding off, but they are, and just is an interesting kind of question. I also kind of like the idea of the ghouls and stuff. It's one thing about my list overall. I'm wondering if too many of them are, and you let me know if you watch this later, or comment. Let me know. Do you think that are they too complicated? Like too many things going on? There's multiple. A lot of times there's multiple creatures and things. And just how the cookie crumbled. I just happened to roll a lot of ones that had complications. But I put a 50% chance of basically there being no complications. But dice being dice, just because you give it a high or some sort of percentage doesn't mean you're going to hit it, obviously. But I like that I do think that I would say I would look at these encounters and say, yeah, there's there's not necessarily a given thing to do. The I like the idea of the villagers and the hippogriff. And what does the party do? Do they cut the hippogriff free? Do they help the villagers? What do they do? And it's also, there's a little story here too, that maybe this conjurer hires the party at some point to find a hippogriff, or at least uh, petitions them to capture one for it. And then either before or after this event, they find that either this happens first, and the party then finds that conjurer and says, "Hey, we'll find one for you," which could be one way it works, or it happens afterwards, and then the party's like, "Hey, wait a minute, did you also you sent us out, you hired us to do it, but then you also hired those guys to do it," kind of thing. Which either way, just it has some fun with that idea of competition. In other words, these poor villagers out there who lured by big city conjurer money try to get this hippogriff at the same time the party may be trying to get hippogriff. I have more of these to do. I don't know if I'll do them all on stream. I like doing them on stream, but maybe over the weekend we'll see. I'm going out of town over the weekend, not anywhere special, just driving. So I don't know if I'll have a chance really to work on this before. But yeah, I was going to change that just to Iraq. I don't care about the small versus large. We'll see. But yeah, let me know what you think. And if you download, if you're a patron or channel member and you download that and you give it a whirl or change it up, let me know how you find it. And for other folks, let me know that this seemed like a good way to make encounters, or too fiddly, or what do you think? Would you like bigger tables? The nice thing is with this kind of setup is you can always add more numbers. I can always just go to 2d6 or d66 or d8, d10, right? These prep tables, I can just continue increasing over time so that I keep getting more diversity in there, or I can swap out things if things happen, right? So these ones are, they're for specific areas, but I could have this as, mountain, forest. I can have one for each, which is kind of what BX does, is they have, it does it more by category of creature. So you'd have flyers, humanoids, animals, and then it kind of lays them out that way, as opposed to by sort of location area, which is what I'm doing. But there's really no wrong way to do it, as long as you get end results that work for you. All right, folks, I am out of here like Vladimir. Have a wonderful weekend if you're watching this or listening to this on Friday. Otherwise, have a great rest of whatever day, night you end up watching or listening to this. Game on, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.